time for our midseason awards. The NHL doesn't hand out theirs until the end of the season, but we get to do it twice. Let's start with the Calder Trophy, guys. Is it Bedard versus the field? Phil, I'm going to start with you.
It's Bedard, and it's not the field. Brock Faber and Marco Rossi were two guys that I had as finalists, but it's Bedard. Anyone trying to say otherwise, just you're lying to yourself.
All right, and I actually have that too. I have Bedard and nobody else is close. Let's take him out of the equation. Bedard's not available right now. Who's your?
I had Marco Rossi as the winner, and he's really stepped up for the Wild. He had that heart issue, whatever he had. And he questioned if he was ever going to kind of be able to get his game back, and he's certainly producing for the Minnesota Wild for at least in terms of rookie production. So,
who is your midseason Norris Trophy winner right now?
I picked Quinn Hughes, and I mean, barring anything changing too drastically, I think he's going to win it at the end of the year. He's been one of the Canucks' best players. It seems like this is his year to win it. Like it's his destiny. I mean, when Cale Makar won it, I was talking about how great of a year Cale Makar was having. Lo and behold, he won it. Quinn Hughes is having a fantastic year offensively. He's leading the Canucks. He's controlling the play from the back end. I think his defensive game has also improved a little bit this year. But right now, for me, it's Hughes as the winner by a decent margin too. I mean, no knock on Makar or anybody else, but I don't see anybody supplanting Hughes at the moment.
Hughes has been playing at such a high level that I gave it to him as well. I just can't. I can't believe that this is the same guy that was going out there the last 2 years. This is who all of us kind of expected he was going to grow into. And again, credit to he's looking like his Uncle Marty out there. So I got to say that's a great thing. But Phil, you had somebody else.
I think Quinn Hughes is going to win it. Do I think he should? No. I think it's Morrissey. I think Josh Morrissey has been as good as any defenseman in the league. If you ask me what a defenseman should be doing, it's what Josh Morrissey is doing right now. Josh Morrissey's on pace for over 60 points. He's more vital to his team than Quinn Hughes is. If Quinn Hughes is playing the way he's playing last year, Vancouver is still a really good team. Still a really good team. They're still getting offensive production out of him. Josh Morrissey is probably the second most important player on Winnipeg, I would say, behind Connor Hellebuck. And Morrissey's a big part of their offense. He is the anchor on defense. He is a leader on that team. Honestly, for me, it's Morrissey. I know he's not going to get it just because we're at a point where we need a Bobby Orr award for best offensive defenseman, and the Norris needs to be for the best all-around defenseman at this point because it just keeps going to guys who just put up tons of points and that really aren't that good defensively anymore. That's what this award has become.
To the Vezina Trophy, the mid-season Vezina, and we all agree on it. Mr. LaRocco, will you do the
Connor Hellebuck, Winnipeg Jets. He's been fantastic. One of the only guys that has a better save percentage than him is Adin Hill, but he's only played in 15 games. So, yeah. I mean, but de facto, that makes Hellebuck one in my book. This is a guy, he's always been viewed as, I would say, a top, 5-6 goaltender in the league. And this year, he's certainly playing like he's the best goalie in the league. He's their Jets' backbone. When their defense does break down, he's there. He's a workhorse in net. And he gives them a chance to win every single night they play. And, good for him for having a year there where he's the standout. And like I said, barring something changing, I don't see him not winning the Vezina.
Best goalie in the league right now. He's already won a Vezina. I think he wins his second Vezina. He's playing behind a team that's playing good defensively too. That's going to help his numbers out. Thatcher Demko was a finalist for me. Ken Talbot was another finalist for me. But it's Hellebuck, and I honestly don't really think it's close.
He's almost like a throwback to a classic number one goalie. He has taken the load where Hill has a lightened load. I mean, Cam Talbot really came close Speaking of which, you need a steady hand from a good coach. Todd McClellan's doing a great job out in LA. He's not my pick. Phil, who do you have winning the Jack Adams?
I'm going to be the homer. I know I'm going to get accused of it, but it's Peter Laviolette. It's got to be for me because of all the injuries that this guy has had to deal with all season. He's managed to keep his Ranger team in first place. Yes, they've been playing real bad defensively over the last month or so in terms of up and down, game to game. But to deal with as many injuries as he's dealt with, constant lineup changes, trying to figure out who's going to be the first line right winger and getting anything out of Blake Wheeler's decrepit ass. Peter Laviolette gets my nod.
And just to extend more than what you're saying, Phil, I mean, hasn't had Philip Hedl since the first week of November, and he's still getting some production out of that bottom six. He's done a great job, and he's also known when to hit the throttle and when to kind of lay off of it with the Rangers. Mm-hmm. And it's funny you mentioned about one of your finalists, Anthony. Who do you got?
I went with Rick Bowness in Winnipeg. This is a team that were in the offseason. They were talking about, like, would Scheifele and Hellebuck go? And, is this a team that starts to retool? They both end up signing extensions, staying, and then, they just churn out the season that they're having. I think, good leadership and having a good voice in the room is really important on top of having skill. And I think Rick Bowness has made them all believe. And they're having a fantastic season. So
John Tortorella is mine. You look at all those teams you guys just mentioned, there's talent all over the place. The Philadelphia Flyers do not have the talent level. They actually, you could even argue they had more reclamation projects. Nobody knew that Carter Hart would be this good, or with you kind of thought they might go into a rebuild after this, and you're saying to yourself, why'd you go into the tank? Instead, they've improved their team, and there's a statement from the top to the bottom. If you don't want to be here, then you're not going to be here. More on that in our Bar Talk segment. So, guys, let's go to the MVP. I'm going to start this off, and I'm going to cede to you, Anthony, to go into the full description. Nate McKinnon, go ahead, because we all agree on this one.
Yeah, I picked Nate McKinnon, too. He's having a monster year. For me, what for me is impressive is that you could say that he has other good players on his team like Rantanen, Makar, but even despite how good those guys are, he has a 66-51. He's got a 15-point lead on the next highest scorer on his team in Rantanen. I mean, that's impressive. It just goes to show how good he is, how he really makes the wheels turn there in Colorado. Right now, he's especially lately, he's playing like he's a man on a mission. And, we talk about like the best players in the world. I think we all agree like McDavid's one, and, depending on who you talk to, maybe Draisaitl at two. But Nathan McKinnon is one of the most elite players we've seen over the last few years. He's got immense skill. And for me, right now, he's my pick. And that's not a knock on other guys you could make a case for. I mean, you can make a case for Panarin. You can make a case for Kucherov, even though his team is maybe underachieving a little bit. But McKinnon right now, for me, is the easy answer here.
Phil, you had Nathan McKinnon as well.
They've lost some talent over the years. Gabriel Landeskog, who knows if he's ever going to play again, because his career may end up being over. They've lost some other guys. And they have still a talented, but not the juggernaut team that they had 2 years ago that we all thought was going to be this crazy juggernaut for years and years. But for me, it's McKinnon. Connor McDavid, he's always going to have a spot there, at least in the finalists. He may even end up winning it if Edmonton makes the playoffs and he leads the league in scoring. He's probably going to win it. But I have to give it to McKinnon. Artemi Panarin was another finalist for me, just because without Artemi Panarin, the Rangers are nowhere, because that offense is all centered around him. He's one of the top scoring players at 5-on-5. If you take away his 5-on-5 goals from the Rangers are probably dead last in the league in 5-on-5 offense. So I definitely got to go with McKinnon, but props to Panarin, who's having a season that deserves it, and also Connor McDavid for just being like, okay, I'm still the best player in the world, and there's not a damn thing you're going to do about it, because when I want to be, I'm just going to dominate everybody.
I got to say, guys, and again, I came this close to putting Panarin in there because I do think the gap between Panarin and his guys are there. But there are seasons where you just watch guys and you just say to yourself, this is the best player in the league right now. That's what Nathan McKinnon's doing right now. He is just passing the eye test with flying colors. And he just looks the part of a guy who is determined to win his first Hart Trophy. And he might not even care. They're just playing at such a high level. And Colorado is a top-heavy team. And they're showing why they can be, because they could just rely on McKinnon.
Are we not giving enough credit to the league's leading scorer here at all? Just during Nikita Kucherov, I feel like not being talked about. It's 67 points, leads the whole league, and not much mentioned.
I get it.
I think he's there.
Like, at the same time, like, you look at Tampa and where they are in the standings. I mean, they're not even in a wild card spot right now. They're 1 point back of the wild card, and the two teams tied for that last wild card have 3 games in hand on them. Tampa has a -8 goal differential. They're not that good of a team. So this could be another situation where it ends up being like Jerome McGinley 2002, where he could end up leading the league in scoring. Tampa ends up missing the playoffs. He doesn't get the trophy because of it.
And guys, let's go one last one to the MidSeason Stanley Cup Finals. Phil, let's go with you first.
It's just because I've got to believe, and I've got to believe that they're going to make moves. I'm going with Rangers of Winnipeg. Winnipeg, if they get everything, I know Vancouver looked real good in these 3 games in their little metro swing here, but something about that team defensively come playoff time just doesn't sit right with me. Yeah, honestly, I'm going to go with Winnipeg because I think goaltending eventually wins in the playoffs. And I think that Winnipeg has a good enough team to counteract Vancouver's speed with their defense and their structure. And then you've got the equalizer in net and Connor Hellebuck. I also think that Vancouver would probably have a real tough time with Winnipeg's size and physicality. I also think LA could give Vancouver a real run for their money, but that's another story. I have to think that the Rangers are going to make moves to fix everything. They're going to make that over-the-top move. And you know what? Screw it. I'll say it. The Rangers are going to go get him, Elias Lindholm. They're going to go get him. I have a feeling that this is going to be the year that just reminds me too much of the 91, 92, and 92, 93 teams where they start getting to the point where they realize that they were that close, but they need a certain type of player to bring in to help put them over the top. And they're going to go make those moves to get those players to be brought in here. So if it's Frank Vetrano and Elias Lindholm, I have a feeling that they're going to go do that.
I'm still going with a rematch of the 94 finals. The Vancouver Canucks versus the New York Rangers. Right now, I'd have the Vancouver Canucks winning it. Sorry, guys. They looked impressive Monday night and last night.
It's one game.
I know it's just one game. But Vancouver, and the reason why I think Winnipeg, even though they're tops in the NHL, their road right now, you got to go through either, if not both, Dallas and Colorado. That's going to be a rough road. I like Winnipeg's road as of right now. And I think the Rangers' road as of right now is easier, and a lot of their questions are answered already. Who's in net? What's their lineup going to be? They're going to go out and acquire more players, but as of right now, I would have the Rangers over the Bruins because I don't know who their goalies are, and that's an important thing for me. You can't be flip-flopping goalies in playoff time. Anthony, who do you got for the Stanley Cup Finals?
Nashville Predators versus the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yeah, well, most unserious answer ever.
Actually, that might not be that serious.
It's funny that Phil mentions Elias Lindholm because I'm going to go with the two teams that have been the most linked to him over the last, month or so. That's the Boston Bruins and the Colorado Avalanche. I think the Bruins, I mean, we said we were going to take steps back. They didn't. They're still a really good team, despite their lack of center depth. I think they're going to be really, really motivated to try to acquire Lindholm. The only thing is they don't have a lot of first round picks in their bank here, so I don't know if they can find a way to make it work. But if Boston could add another center, I think they're going to be a real strong contender to come out of the East. They're one of the stingiest teams defensively. I know Ullmark just got hurt, but with Ullmark and Swayman, so if they could add another center like Lindholm, I think that propels them to the top. And the same thing for Colorado. I think they're certainly going to be looking for some other pieces. I think they're going to be a team that probably looks to add a defenseman and then also maybe another scoring forward like Lindholm. But, Winnipeg and Vancouver, I like them a lot, but I think when it comes to playoff success and playoffs, really kind of in general, more so for the Canucks, but they're not. I don't know if they have the experience to make a long run right off the bat with both those teams. So I don't know. I don't think they'll go all the way, but I guess we'll see. But for me, Colorado, they're a team that's been there before. They know what it takes to win, and I think that they're going to be looking to add some pieces here to help them. So that right now, that would be my pick.
And Anthony, it's kind of funny that you say that because the Rangers and Vancouver Canucks played Monday, and so did the Bruins and the Colorado Avalanche play this week. So you had two previews that we had for the Stanley Cup Finals right now.
I'm sorry. I just want to get something in real quick, just outside of hockey real quick. This is one of my good friends in real life. I play hockey with him and his son. They just had, during that storm, they just had a tree fall on their house, and they are disposed right now. So everybody keep Jason and his family in your thoughts. I just wanted to throw that out there. Love you, brother.
Yeah.
That's tough.
That is tough, and hopefully everything recovers soon. But, hey, so everybody, that was our MidSeason Awards.
Please like and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of great hockey content and an entertaining, interactive podcast. So check us out and our library of videos.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.